where if na only debate or interviews that they tell you win election or they win presidential election for Nigeria, this man P2B don't win now. If you see how this man they answer question, the way we go analyze her, even person when no go school go understand. Well, Arise TV organized a kind of debate for the presidential candidate, and of course APC candidate. They were nowhere to be found. Baba no come. P2B was there, Atiku was there, as in like, see how in the answer question that they do blah 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 blah. But him, he just they give them as they ask him, he they answer sharp. Like they ask them how if they become the president of Nigeria, what thing they go do to take carry the country go in higher level. The way when this man answer question, I am gonna just watch the video.
And capital growth, how are you going to deal with that, expand it in Nigeria?
Well, in my opening address, I did say that human capital encompasses health and education. And the consequence of its being low in Nigeria is the mass poverty you're seeing. Because the more you invest in human capital, the better your development. So human capital first, I want to show people, it's not an expense, it's an investment. Because that's what drives your development in the first place. If you invest in it, you increase per capita, which is the real measure of poverty. So for me, we're going to, I'll say that even if we're going to borrow money, we're going to borrow for investment. And I can show through a budget how we intend to deal with this issue in clear terms that are measurable and people can see it. So when we say we're going to put people out of poverty, we're going to state the numbers and people will see the country increase. And if I didn't have opportunity, I would have shown you using 3 countries to show you what they did with issue of human capital, how they moved their countries' HDI from low to medium to high, and how dramatically increased their per capita, which is a measure of wealth. And the same thing for Nigeria, who didn't invest, it took the other way around. And that's why you throw more people into poverty, where you now have more people living in multidimensional poverty than a country like India that is 7 times your size. And you have more people living in poverty. And use what they've done, and examples are bound. China, India, Vietnam have done this in something that is with effortless ease in pulling, not that it's difficult, but they've been able to show an example how you can use and methods to pull your people by investing in human capital.
Thank you very much indeed. And we're still
is to remove areas of wastages in government spending. Another area we can also remove these wastages is also to make sure that we continue with the policies we had started. For instance, we started removing subsidies when we were in office. We were to remove subsidies in 4 quarters. We removed in 2 quarters. After we left, the whole thing froze. Nobody had the courage and the leadership to continue with removing subsidies again. This is one aspect where we could raise a lot of funding to meet the gap, in our expenditure. The second one, of course, is to continue with the privatization, which we had started. We will realize quite a lot of money. For instance, take the case of our moribund refineries. They have not been working, and we have been expending a lot of money on them. Why not privatize them and raise so much money to meet up this deficit? These are areas, a number of areas you can implement and make sure that you raise the necessary funding that you require. Of course, I have mentioned areas of wastages, which can be reduced as far as the federal funding is concerned. So these are the 3 areas I believe we could get funding to reduce the deficit. And also, another area is to make sure that the central bank, eliminates multiple, exchange rates in our exchange rates regime, because that again is another area where we can also raise funding.
Mr. Peter Obi of the Labour Party.
Thank you. Well, every country of the world owns. So first is that the incoming government is going to face huge debts, which you need to sit down, restructure in order to make it manageable, and then go ahead to restore fiscal viability by one, dealing with the issue of oil theft, the criminal subsidy we have today, deal with the issue of multiple exchange rates, like His Excellency Atiku Abubakar has mentioned, deal with that issue, deal with the issue of subsidies and areas of waivers and everything, and cut unacceptable cost of governance that we have today. By the time you deal with all this, you will be able to have a situation where you now have to have what you can call an implementable budget, because you will now borrow money for investment, and by doing that, you have to bring in growth, and as you grow, you might in fact be able to create more space to be able to borrow more, to be able to invest more, and these are how countries will grow. And with this investment in human capital, your economy will grow, more people will be put out of poverty, there will be more taxes, there will be more income and everything, and you then start reducing your deficit and your debt.
Candidate of the NNPP.
We will do whatever it takes to ensure that we have an inclusive government. Things should be run through merit rather than whatever things that will not help the country. Now, on the issue of budget, I'm happy to say that when I went to Kano in 2011, my second term, the capital was 30%, and of course the current was 70. And before I left government, we were able to reverse it to 70-30. And I'm also happy to say that because of the fiscal discipline that we had by way of attacking corruption and so on, we were able to run our government first term in 1999, 2003, and 2011 to 2015 without borrowing a single kobo. Unfortunately, of course, at that time, we inherited debt that we had to pay. So twice I was living government house in Kano, twice I was paying all the debts that I inherited as a government. Now, at national level, we were told that there are serious issues now, to the extent that now whatever we earn